Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 8th of February, 2019. I'm actually a little bit excited about this show.
I got a lot of things to go. We're going to talk about AOC's Green New Deal, which is hilarious. But first off, this is a joke. This is hilarious to me today. We have super Captain America as our acting.
I love Captain America.
Our acting Attorney General, who I wish would just stay on, right?
Okay.
And I love this guy. His name is Whitaker. They're trying to get this other guy confirmed, Barr or whatever. Mm-hmm. And if the Senate knows what's good for them, they would pass him because I don't want them to pass him because then we gotta go through another guy. This guy has to stay there, right?
Right.
I love this guy. I love this guy. So he's finally one in all of Trump's administration who's real deal.
Okay.
So the Senate Judiciary, the House Judiciary, they're set to just have hearing after hearing after hearing after hearing. That's what they wanted to do. So
through the rest of Trump's presidency.
Next 2 years.
Yes.
So this first one, kick off with a bang, is acting Attorney General Whitaker. Well, Sheila Jackson Lee, who between her and Maxine Waters, you can't tell which one is more about reclaiming their time. She's just, if she wasn't black, I'd call her a ditzy blonde. She's that bad. Well, they get into a little bit of a thing back and forth here, and I want you to watch.
Okay.
And with the short time that I have, I want to make sure that your questions are answered in a yes or no matter. This is the first oversight hearing we have had in the Justice Department in almost 15 months. You did not have a confirmation hearing, and you have not yet appeared for an oversight hearing. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Now watch. He is stalling to get through the 5-minute times, but it's funny to watch.
Okay.
Congresswoman, I am the acting.
Yes or no? Have you appeared before an oversight hearing in the Congress?
Congresswoman, I have not.
It has been 10 years
before.
Witness will answer the question as asked, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, if the parliamentary inquiry, if he feels that a yes or no is appropriate, he'll answer in a yes or no. If he does not feel it's appropriate, he should be able to answer in the appropriate, as many Democrat administration officials have done before this committee before. That is unreal.
The member has only 5 minutes, and if
we've just discovered that we have
wants a yes or no answer, she's entitled to it. I will not allow the witness to stall and waste members' time.
Where were you when Ms. Lynch and Mr. Holder were here?
Mr. Chairman, may I have my time restored? I think it was at 4 minutes.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Again, Mr. Attorney General, the question is, did you have a confirmation hearing, and has it been more than 10 years since you testified before Congress?
Congresswoman,
can the clock be restored?
It was. I'm sorry, what was your... I don't know if your time's been restored or not.
Mr. Attorney General, we're not joking here, and your humor is not acceptable. Now, you are here because we have a constitutional duty to ask questions, and the Congress has the right to establish government rules. The rules are that you are here. So I need to ask the question, and I need to have my time restored so that you can behave appropriately. I will behave appropriately as a member of the Judiciary Committee. I'm asked a question. Did you have a confirmation hearing, and have you not yet appeared for an oversight hearing?
Congresswoman, I am an acting Attorney General. I have been appointed according to the Vacancies Reform Act, and I have never appeared in front of Congress for any hearing, even when I was United States Attorney.
Oh my gosh.
No, he did it. There's another one.
No.
This one is funny. Okay, this is we might see this guy a lot, so get to know him. Mr. Nadler is now the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Okay.
In your capacity as acting Attorney General, have you ever been asked to approve any request or action to be taken by the special counsel?
Mr. Chairman, I see that your 5 minutes is up, and so I'm here voluntarily. We have agreed to 5-minute rounds, and
the committee.
I think that's a fine place to end the 5-minute rule.
The committee We'll come to order. I will point out that we didn't enforce the 5-minute rule on Acting Attorney General Whitaker. We will.
I understand, Mr. Chairman. I was just saying there might be a good breaking point at that point for you.
No.
So he's a comedian. Why can't we keep him? After he gets appointed as acting, then we should just keep him.
I want to, but
love that guy.
He won't get.
There's a future for that guy. Somewhere, Mr.
Rainbow.
Clean. Mr. Clean.
In other
Mr.
news,
Clean.
random news of the day. YouTube is considering removing the dislike button due to creator complaints and hurt feelings. Today, in keeping social media shiny happy place news, YouTube is reportedly considering disabling the dislike button to address what the company is calling dislike mobs. A Verge article says that dislike mobs are groups of people who become upset with a certain creator or a certain video and decide to execute an organized effort to downvote or negatively review it. It's an issue that YouTube has seen before and one that content creators have spoken out about. Videos with a high number of dislikes are less likely to be recommended for people to watch and could eventually hurt the creator's channel.
Pause.
Yeah.
Do you know most of our videos have an astronomical ratio of likes versus dislikes? So if that was any indicator of whether your video gets suggested or recommended for people to watch, then we would be recommended again, because we hardly have any thumbs down on our videos compared to our thumbs up, thanks to our wonderful viewers. Oh, give me a break. You know, this is actually good news. This is excellent news. You know why? Because they wouldn't be contemplating this if it weren't for the fact that the videos that are getting the most thumbs down are videos that they want promoted, like CNN or whatever. Okay.
You just hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
So that's good news that we have taken over YouTube. They are trying to regain power, but they don't have it because the power is in the numbers. How many of you guys do go and troll on these lefty videos and give them a bunch of thumbs down, because it goes to show what people want?
We've got
fantastic.
on San Diego border, the Department of Family Security said on Friday that they have issued a waiver to ensure the expeditious construction and replacement of approximately 12.5 miles of secondary wall in San Diego. The DHS cited a 1996 law giving the Secretary of Homeland Security the authority to waive legal requirements for the installation of additional fencing, roads, walls, lighting cameras in the southwest border. The approximately 12 or 14-mile Bullard-style wall project in San Diego that was awarded by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on December 20th, 2018, will include an area that begins near eastern end of the border. There were over 38,000 illegal border crossings arrested by the San Diego sector of Border Patrol. So what we see here is, I believe, Trump is trying to use other ways around getting the wall built. So, well, we're getting some built here, and that's not from the federal budget.
Wow.
So I wanted to point that out.
That's cool.
We're going around some.
You know, how many of you guys got that email? Was it yesterday or today? Asking if you would be in favor. It was from Trump. If you would be in favor of him declaring a national emergency.
Did I get text
so I went ahead. It was, I don't know if it was, well, I didn't get text messages. I got it in an email. So I went ahead and clicked, yes, I would be in favor of him doing that. And so I just thought that was really interesting that they're polling the Trump supporters to see what they think about it is important to gauge how the country is going to react if he does something, how his base is going to react, how his supporters are going to react.
How is Iran going to react to when Trump says crazy stuff? My segue there. So I am always on the side of, like Rand Paul tweeted out yesterday, I believe that Saudi Arabia is the most dangerous country in the world right now for for producing mass terrorism and things like that. But Donald Trump keeps pointing to Iran. And while Iran does not do the same things that Saudi Arabia actually does, like the war happening in Libya right now, and setting up mosques and the Wahhabists, especially in the UK and across Europe, the Iranian supreme ruler does pose a threat that people do not acknowledge and much like North Korea, the Iranian supreme ruler Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is putting a new spin on an old slogan. Americans who have been around since at least the days of President Mohammed, how do you say his last name? Ahmadinejad, who famously antagonized George W. Bush and Barack Obama, will remember Iranian chants of death to America filling the airwaves. But in the age of Trump, with tensions between Iran and the U.S. back at a breaking point after the president pulled out of the Iran deal, Khamenei has clarified that when Iranians chant death to America, what they really mean is death to Trump.
Right.
That he's saying that. Like, he's saying that that's what he really means.
Okay, well, pause, because I did grab that link. It's so big, it won't let me put it in the chat. I've exceeded the characters, so I put it in the description. So after the video processes, or as soon as that saves, you should be able to see it.
Okay. And his top national security and foreign policy officials, like National Security Advisor John Bolton, it means everybody in the top U.S. officials. At least that's what he told a group of Iranian Air Force officers during a speech to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Iranian Revolution. As long as America continues its wickedness, the Iranian nation will not abandon death to America, told a gathering of Iranian Air Force officers marking the 40th anniversary. Death to America means death to Trump, John Bolton, Mike Pompeo. It means death to American rulers. And he says, I recommend that no one should trust the Europeans just as the Americans. I just wanted to throw that out there to let everyone know that
it was helpful when you put the accent on there. So I knew that was him speaking. That was head to accent.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
I wanted to throw that out there because in our rush to say, yeah, but Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but Iran.
But Saudi Arabia is actually trying to work with us, okay? And does not pose a threat. Saudi Arabia doesn't have its leaders saying death to America. The people might, obviously, they probably teach it in their Wahhabist mosques and things like that. But when we're dealing with governments, we can't just deal with the perfect ones.
True. We deal with North Korea.
When you have Iran saying death to America, death to Israel, death to America, death to Israel, we want to wipe Israel off that. You have to learn that's not okay. That's like, this is not okay.
Sydney is also not okay right now. You want to give her that other thing?
I already did.
You didn't.
She's eaten 2 and a milk bone.
You've had 5, but you're welcome.
I think she might need her food in front of her.
Okay.
She's going to be in one of those moods. You can try putting her on the couch. You didn't get enough exercise today? All right, so today, President Trump, always got to check out his Twitter whenever we come to you guys. What's the newest? Now we find out that Adam Schiff was spending time together in Aspen with Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS, who wrote the fake and discredited dossier, even though Simpson was testifying before Schiff. That's not probably really, really good. Fusion GPS produced the hoax. Trump-Russia dossier commissioned by the Clinton campaign, which relied on Kremlin sources for a series of salacious and largely unproven claims. The dossier was a foundational document used by the Obama administration, we now know this, to surveil the Trump campaign. John Solomon writes that photos from Aspen Security Conference show Schiff and Simpson meeting together, which both men insisted was only a brief encounter. When confronted with the Aspen conference photos of Schiff in sport coat and open neck dress shirt and Simpson wearing casual attire, representatives for both men tried to minimize the discussion, insisting nothing nothing important about the Russian case was discussed. Shockingly, Simpson was an important witness in front of the House Intelligence Committee at the time, of which Schiff was the ranking Democrat. So Simpson's brought in. Schiff is the ranking Democrat, and they're having private meetings. And they're trying to say that this whole thing is literally a setup between our government, our Democratic government, the Democrats in our government,
deep state,
the deep state, and Russian and UK intelligence,
Here is the deal, guys. It's so interesting to me that when it comes to the United States, we all understand very clearly that there's a right and there is a left. And so you can't just say America, because it all depends on who has the most power at the moment, on who you can blame for your current issue that you have with the United States. But for some reason, when it comes to, let's say, Russia or the UK, or we have our Polish friends here, that whole logic seems to fly out the window, and we just think all of a sudden that every government official in Russia is all on the same page. They're all ex-KGB. They're all Soviet whatever, and they all have it out for the left in America. And you know what? Or excuse me, for the right. The left. That's right. They all have it out for the left in America, which is where the Trump collusion is coming. We don't recognize that there are so many moves at play in every government. They have so many different interests that you can't just say Russia is pro-Trump or Russia is pro-Clinton or whichever side of the aisle you want to be on. There are officials in Russia that are fervently and actively working against Donald Trump. There are officials in Russia that are fervently and actively campaigning against the left because they do want Donald Trump in office. So you have to take that into consideration. The same goes for the UK.
Here's the thing. Adam Schiff was the biggest proponent of this dossier, saying that it's real.
Right.
So he randomly runs into Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS, who is the company that was commissioned to get this dossier. Just randomly bumped into him. No big deal. We didn't talk about this. The one thing, Schiff was the guy that played it over and over again in front of mainstream media. Now, Simpson claimed, Glenn Simpson from Fusion GPS claimed that he had not begun meeting with Bruce Orr, number 4, at the DOJ until Thanksgiving 2016. Well after the FBI had begun investigating the Trump-Russia collusion and after the presidential election in which Simpson's client, Clinton, lost to Trump. But Orr provided compelling evidence, including calendar notations, testimony, and handwritten notes, showing that Simpson met with him in August 2016, well before the election and during the time when Steele was helping the FBI. So why isn't Glenn Simpson in the same position of lying to Congress that everybody else is?
Right, exactly.
So Fusion GPS tried to downplay this Aspen get-together, telling John Solomon, in the summer of 2018, Mr. Simpson attended a media-sponsored social event. They exchanged small talk with Representative Schiff, just like the plane and the tarmac thing with
small talk. Hey, how's your kids? Good. How are your kids? They're good. It's all small talk.
Solomon writes, this was just a Forrest Gump-like moment, they're telling us, in which the Democrats' chief defender of the dossier and the man whose firm produced it met serendipitously. Trump then slammed the Russian investigation as a giant illegal hoax developed long before the election itself, but used as an excuse by the Democrats as to why crooked Hillary lost the election. Trump also noted that the mainstream media has refused to cover the fact that the head of the very important Senate Intelligence Committee, after 2 years of intensive study and access to intelligence that only they could get, just stated that they have found no collusion between Trump and Russia.
How many times have they stated that, though? I mean, I'm glad that Trump tweeted it out, but I'm just saying.
Well, this was today. Okay. It is all a giant and illegal hoax, developing long before the election itself, but used an excuse by the Democrats as to why crooked Hillary Clinton lost the election. Someday the fake news media will turn honest and report that Donald J. Trump was actually a great candidate.
Oh, my gosh. I love him so
much.
We
want to pinch his little cheeks.
We want to pinch his little cheeks there.
On Thursday, the Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Richard Burr announced that his committee's Russian investigation is yet to find evidence that Trump's campaign colluded with Russia. So there's that.
Wow.
You having fun yet today?
I am.
Are we having fun? You want to go to Virginia?
A great day. Yeah.
Let's go to Virginia because this is the most crazy thing has ever happened. Just like right in front of our faces, God's divine justice. Now, one can, at this point, let me just tell you what happened.
Okay. She's going to break it down.
So, you guys remember the chick in Virginia who brought before the bill. Brought before.
You just made up a word.
Brought forth the
the infanticide bill.
Well, it wasn't an infanticide bill until Northam made it an infanticide bill. The moments before birth, could a woman just say, you know what, I just want to kill it?
That's still infanticide to me.
Yeah. Moments before it's out the birth canal, and she says yes. So the governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, goes on a radio program.
He's a doctor.
He is a doctor, and he works on children, babies. And he goes on to say, if the child is born alive,
right,
outside of the womb, the baby's outside the womb,
right, it'll be resuscitated, which is to have its mouth swabbed and to spank it on the butt.
No, it won't.
He did say that,
no,
though. He said, and then we'll talk to the parent.
No, we'll keep it comfortable, and the mother and family will decide whether they want it resuscitated.
Okay, I'm pretty sure.
That's the infanticide.
Do the video, we could watch it again and show people. But the point is after he said this, everybody, as they rightfully should have, went nuts. I was watching Alex Jones, and I think he was talking to Mike Adams or somebody, and they were saying that this guy kind of has special interests in the sense that these people are wanting these children to be born alive so that they can harvest their organs.
There was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you first thing I would say is this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent
There's never a reason
of
to
the
do
physicians,
it to save the mother,
more than
by the
one
way.
physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then
so we were kind of both in the middle there. He did say
it would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and family desire.
Let it finish, because he said then we would talk to the mother.
Discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
Right.
So I think this was really blown out of proportion. But again,
that's the clip. He says the baby would be resuscitated if that's what the mother wants. Mm-hmm. That means we would let the child choke and die
on its own fluids and stuff.
Just die.
I was just remembering him having said that before he said a discussion would ensue.
Right, but that's the infanticide point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But I wanted to also make clear that when he says resuscitated, that's something that is standard given to every child that is ever born. You help it live. Okay? Babies don't just pop out. I mean, I guess sometimes they do pop out screaming and their airways are, cleared or whatever. But sometimes you've got to swab the mouth, get him, slap him on the butt, get him going.
Right.
And it's a right. It is a human right that is given to every child. And it should be given to every child from inception on. You don't ever get to choose. The thing that makes me sick about what he says here is when he says there may be deformities. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how far do you take that word deformity? Do you take it so far as to say there's a scar on the face that you don't like? Do you take it so far as to, not a scar, but like a birthmark? Do you take it so far as to say, let's say their foot is deformed? Perfectly healthy human being that has just been born, but maybe they have webbed feet or something. I mean, how far do you take that? It wasn't the gender, so that's a deformity.
Any kind of disability that you find on the way out, if it's out and they're like, oh, look, I don't want that baby anymore, we're going to let it die.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So God's divine justice finds this guy with blackface
from a yearbook.
But not only
which
that,
is amazing that it didn't come out during his when he was a candidate and
right.
during the electoral process.
So they find him not only with blackface, but with blackface next to a KKK
hood.
Hood.
Now, did they ever differentiate if he was the one with blackface or the one in the hood?
No, because
he didn't admit it. He admitted he was in the picture, but he didn't admit which one he was.
No, because at first he says he was in the picture, and then he says he wasn't in the picture. So here's the picture. I don't know if you guys can see it. Here's the picture. He says, well, I didn't buy one of those yearbooks, so I hadn't seen it.
Oh, whatever.
However, there's another picture of him wearing those exact same pants.
Pause. He has an entire page to himself. Now, is this a college yearbook?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have an entire page to yourself with your name on it, and you didn't buy a copy of that yearbook and look at it.
You obviously had to give some pictures. Like, those are pictures of yourself. Nice pictures of yourself in front of a fancy car, looking all, like, farmery, looking awesome, whatever.
Unbelievable.
So, not only that, but what we have is that's not what I want. I want the...
Sydney, we love you.
You are awesome. So he tries to backtrack this, right? And he said that he had worn blackface a previous time as well, and he wanted to let people know, but he was dressed up like Michael Jackson.
Oh,
now check this out. Where?
Yes.
You danced the moonwalk?
That's right.
He says, you danced the moonwalk? That's right.
You still able to moonwalk?
Can you still moonwalk? Now watch this.
Inappropriate circumstances.
My wife says inappropriate circumstances.
He looks around to show people that he's going to do the moonwalk.
And the wife, like, she is so disgusted right now. Like, wow.
But he's so delusional, he doesn't even...
That's right.
Are you still able to moonwalk?
Inappropriate circumstances.
My wife says inappropriate circumstances.
Now, the relationship there is very interesting because that was condescending of her. Like, that's the tone that you would take. Sorry, I'm trying to open up this treat for Sydney. That's the tone you would take towards your teenage son or something when they're about to say or just said something stupid or about to do something stupid. That was incredibly condescending. I'm thinking that Bombard's body language would rip that apart.
So what was going to happen next? Because everybody kept calling on him to resign. And then the former governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, called on him to resign. The wait. No, this is another. Okay, so what's happening in Virginia? Sorry, I'm trying to follow everybody. There's 3 people. Let me just take you to Tucker. Just watch.
Who didn't just stop him from doing the moonwalk. She also helped convince him to not step down despite intense pressure at the beginning. That may have turned out to be wise counsel by Pam Northam. If Northam had given in to the political mob, there could have been a far deeper crisis in Virginia. The governorship would have gone to Democratic Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. He's now embroiled in a charge of sexual assault he denies. Next in line would be Democratic State Attorney General Mark Herring. He's now admitted he too appeared in blackface at least once in college. Now, in the wake of the push among some Democrats to believe all women during the Justice Brett Kavanaugh controversy, it's notable that a senior Democratic congressman has now been drawn in. Congressman Bobby Scott says roughly a year ago he heard the allegations of sexual assault from the alleged victim herself, Dr. Vanessa Tyson, though he just heard there was a Me Too problem, but did not hear the graphic details Tyson has now claimed about being forced into oral sex. Fairfax has hired the same attorney who represented Justice Kavanaugh. And the lieutenant governor's team has fired off a letter to NBC demanding a correction to a report that charged in a private meeting. The lieutenant governor said of his accuser, F that B. Fairfax insists he was just using profanity to express general frustration about false allegations. New today, a Republican was drawn in. State Senator Tommy Norment reportedly oversaw a yearbook at the Virginia Military Institute in 1968 filled with racist photos and slurs. He says he did not directly edit that part. The Washington Post, which published the first allegations against Kavanaugh, but held back on publishing a story about the Fairfax allegations, today had an editorial saying Northam should resign. Our correspondent in Richmond, Ellison Barber, noticed one sole pro-Northam protester outside the governor's mansion, shouting through a bullhorn, "I know you're a good man. Do not resign." Tucker?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Ed Henry, thank you for that. Judging by the...
Wow.
Okay, so what we have is we have everybody calling for Northam to resign.
Right.
Well, then it would go to this guy, Fairfax. Well, Fairfax now has he had a woman come forward and say, I was sexually assaulted by him.
Right.
Well, her claims are way more credible because this guy says that he did have a relationship with her.
Right. He says it was consensual.
However, she, a year ago, went to another member in the Democratic Virginia Party.
So there's a history there.
And told him what happened.
Right.
So there's a history there, and he ignored it. Okay? He totally ignored it. Now, here's the thing.
It is a soap opera, David says.
It's the lieutenant governor was ready to step up, and then this woman came forward again. Well, now there's a second accuser. So there's been all week this kind of like playing of chess game where if Northam resigns and then Fairfax has to resign, then this attorney general who got ahead of the ball said, I dressed in blackface too. He tells you that, right? It's a big apology. But before he tells you that, he calls on Northam to resign over the blackface photo. But he says, because I got in front of the ball, I'm ready to be your next governor. So you have Fairfax is ready to be your governor. The Attorney General is ready to be your governor. They're ready. They're all ready. Because if all of three of them go, you got the next one in line is the Speaker of the House of Virginia, who is a Republican.
Oh, no.
Who got his seat on a coin toss.
Oh, boy.
Yes, on a coin toss.
Wow.
Because it was tied in the House of Virginia.
They settle things that way?
They did. And so they did. So you would literally have a coin tossed governor into the governorship. So the Democrats have a huge dilemma here, which we don't have, right? Because we realize that
where did you come from?
Hey, you. People that are sound-minded can take each situation and say, this is something that has merit, that you should resign over if you really truly are a racist, or if you're experiencing those same kind of actions today, that would be a thing. Now, the Democrats are on a very big kick of forgiveness.
Isn't that amazing?
It is so amazing. Like, not all of them, by the way, but they have to. And you want to know why they have to be on a big kick of forgiveness?
Are you going to play the Sharpton clip?
I don't know what the Sharpton clip is.
He came out and he was kind of talking about forgiveness. Did you show him these pictures?
But you have to be a forgiver. Because Jimmy Kimmel has been in blackface. And a really bad clip that was all urban talk. Joy Behar.
That doesn't even look like her from The View.
Dressed as a beautiful black woman, she called herself. That's Ted Danson showing up in horrible blackface.
No, hang on though, because and anybody in the chat that is of color who wants to explain this to me, I consider this blackface, the Ted Danson thing. I consider the Judy Garland blackface. Seeing somebody that is white dressing up as a black person has to be defined by context as far as whether it is offensive or not, in my opinion.
Well, blackface is literally you draw these big, giant lips. That's really embarrassing.
Right. We've got Billy Crystal down here. We've got Jimmy Fallon. And then, like you said, Jimmy Kimmel, which that's not surprising at all.
Right.
So I guess to me, it's not like Victoria says it's when you're making a mockery. I think that's what you meant by that. She just said mockery. I mean, you know, what about black people acting white? Eddie Murphy, etc. David says. Jim West says, going by their own supposed moral high ground, those three, if Fairfax is guilty, should resign and let the Republican in. I bet they won't.
If they're going by how they would treat a Republican, they all have to resign.
Exactly. Sorry.
But if this is like anybody, then the Ted Danson thing, that's highly inappropriate. But he went to this party that I've researched with his then girlfriend, Whoopi Goldberg.
Really?
Who's black.
So if it's so offensive to her now, why wasn't it offensive when she was dating Ted Danson?
So you do have people like big celebrities, Jamie Lee Curtis calling on Northam to resign, all these different things.
Yeah.
Obviously the KKK hood has a different
and that's what I was thinking. I'm like, how does that even end up in a yearbook?
Right.
I mean, even back then, that's pretty intense.
That is.
I can't imagine opening up like my mom's yearbook and finding, if I opened up my mother's yearbook and I found that, I would be floored.
So what has been so hilarious about
Does anybody else have a yearbook from back then that has racist stuff in it? I mean, seriously, I would be interested to find out.
So I just wanted to go through a little bit of Twitter for you guys to get you an idea.
Love Twitter.
God agrees to spare Virginia if just 10 Democrats who never wore blackface can be found.
That's from the Battle Line B. For those of you that don't read the Bible. We're talking about Sodom and Gomorrah here.
In a statement issued from on high, the Almighty has agreed to spare the state of Virginia from its imminent wrath if state officials can locate just 10 Democrats who never wore blackface or a KKK costume at some point in their lives. God has announced his plan to immediately destroy Virginia, but Democrat leaders quickly begged him to spare the state if they could locate just 50 Democrats who never dressed in blackface. Being unable to do so, they managed to get the Lord to reduce the requirement to 40, then 30, then 20, and finally just 10. Virginians' relief, however, quickly turned to panic as Democrat lawmakers announced they couldn't find a single leftist politician who hasn't dressed in a horrifically racist costume in their college years. They thought they found one, but he was accused of sexual assault and so didn't count. So the state citizens immediately began gathering their things and fleeing to other states.
Oh my gosh. Be careful not to look back or you'll turn into a pillar of salt.
This week for Democrats, your rising star wants to ban air travel and give money to people. That's AOC, unwilling to work. Virginia Democrat Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General in crisis. New evidence shows Elizabeth Warren did pretend to be an Indian, and the Trump State of the Union rated amongst the best ever. This is Donald Trump. Democrats at the top are killing the great state of Virginia. If the three failing polls were Republicans, far stronger action will be taken. Virginia will come back home Republican in 2020.
Oh my gosh.
Have the Virginia Democrats paused to consider the implications of a statewide blackface KKK scandal that somehow results only in the resignation of the black guy who is accused of sexual assault.
Oh,
so
man.
he has to go. But like the only guy, the white guys stay around. The racist white guys stay. Yeah. The black guys got to go.
Exactly. And you know what? The Democrats would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
By the way, there was a Democrat in the Klan hood. This came out only a week ago. He's still the governor of Virginia. Hey, you know those three Virginia Democrat politicians who all would have been forged out of office by now if they were Republicans? None of them are resigned. None of them plan to resign. Kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah. Charlie Kirk says, I'm waiting for Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Kristen Gillibrand to publicly demand the resignation of Virginia Democrats who are accused of wrongdoing. These Democrat presidential hopefuls try to destroy Kavanaugh with far less evidence.
I mean, we got the guy in a picture. I mean, seriously. Now, granted, pictures can be faked, so you have to be careful. I've seen a lot of people sharing on Facebook a picture of Hillary Clinton in blackface. I'm 99% sure that that's not real. So watch what you share.
Sheriff Clark says, it's like with deer. When you see one run across the road, there's always another right behind it. I'll withhold judgment, but like Democrat polls insisted in Kavanaugh hearings, all rape victims deserve to be heard.
And
he should take a leave of absence and believed. Haven't they said, literally when the Kavanaugh says all women should be believed, all women should, Kristen Gillibrand literally got up and said, they all said it, all women should be believed. I believe all women. I believe. Democrats wanted zero tolerance for misconduct. Then came Virginia, and everybody's getting a pass.
Right.
Everybody's giving a pass. So what this does is it evens out the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because look at Roy Moore.
Right.
He was cut off. They almost tried to cut off Kavanaugh. Their whole lynch mob mentality is only for me, none for thee. Fairness does not come into play.
Exactly.
But what conservatives are showing is fairness. They said, I want to see whether these claims are substantiated.
Right.
I'm not cheering just to see every Democrat in Virginia go.
Exactly.
And when it comes to the blackface, where is your mind now? What were you thinking then?
Right.
Have you come far? What was obviously Virginia is a very racist state. To have that many people wearing blackface, like why are they doing it? Why? Because they're not doing it because they say they're doing it because they like rappers. Or no, it is a put down. A blackface next to the KKK hood is not.
Well, and that's undeniable.
Right. Sadly, the message we are witnessing this week from Virginia's top leadership is that racism and possible sexual assault are better alternatives than bipartisanship.
Right.
Second accuser to come forward. I'm going to bring this up, and then we're going to move on. If you could check on Jasper real quick. She's outside.
She's still outside.
Yeah.
Oh
No, she hasn't. It's not that long. So a second woman has publicly accused this Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax of sexual assault. Meredith Watson said she was raped by Fairfax in 2000 when they were students at Duke University. Watson said Fairfax's attack was premeditated and aggressive and calls for the Lieutenant Governor to resign. Mrs. Watson shared her account of the rape with friends in a series of emails and Facebook messages that are now in our possession, her statement said. Fairfax denied the allegations as demonstrably false and has demanded an investigation to confirm his account. I will clear my good name and have nothing to hide. He says he has not indicated whether he is thinking of stepping down at this time. According to Watson's statements, the two were friends at Duke but never dated or had a romantic relationship. So he denies it.
Did you know this was... Never mind.
What?
Nothing.
Let's see. So here we have an ongoing fiasco happening in Virginia. It's kind of fun to watch, actually, because I don't have any skin in the game. I don't want somebody wrongfully accused. You know what I mean? We're going to take a break before we move on for some good news. Hero dog breaks out of house, leads police back home to save owner from gas leak.
No way.
Yes, way. We all need some good news from time to time. Let's start over here.
Hero.
Come on, baby. Here, go back.
The runaway dog who became a hero.
Extremely. And it makes me want to cry.
On Wednesday around 3:30 p.m., Sadie, the 60-pound pit bull, was found wandering the streets of Tuckahoe, barking up a storm.
And we got a call of a loose pit bull.
Police tried to catch her, but Sadie bolted back to her home on Fairview Avenue, cops in hot pursuit. When they got there, they said they noticed the sliding door in the backyard was ajar.
When they went to go investigate, they noticed an odor of gas emanating from the doorway.
It's strong enough that they
there
noticed
was a
it.
gas leak here.
Amazing.
Police believe Sadie ran away from the house to get away from it and then led officers right back to it.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I want to say bringing them here. What else could it be?
Sadie's owner, Serena Costello, who was not home at the time, says Sadie is a hero. That if not for her precious pit bull, something terrible could have happened.
An explosion. I have no idea.
She fully believes Sadie smelled the gas, started scratching frantically at the front door, before somehow nuzzling open the sliding door in the kitchen on her own and escaping to get help.
How is she able to do that?
I don't know.
Ultimately, she says cops called the fire department in Con Ed, the gas was turned off, and everything is fine. Thanks to the 11-year-old pit bull.
It saved us.
Who indeed saved the day.
That's awesome.
We need
Yay, Sadie, the pit bull.
Didn't we need some good news?
Yes. Dogs are smart, David said. Redneck says, I love pits. Pit bulls they get a really bad rap. I have to tell you. They have the ability to do more damage than the average dog if they turn crazy, but they're not more apt to turn crazy, and that's the difference.
That's true. That is true. So, in other news, Pocahontas
I'm not gonna. Yeah, we can't. I just because of everything, I can't really do the like I really wanted to do it. But if it's her pretending like she's a Native American, I don't see why I can't make fun of it. Make fun of her.
You can,
because Native Americans are fantastic. But the fact that she's trying to be one and she's not. She literally took this test that proves that she is less Native American or has less Native American blood in her than most of us in America. It's unfortunate.
So
now she's having to walk that back.
To signing a 1986 registration card with the State Bar of Texas as Native American.
Yeah.
As Native American.
But hang on though. But how does that prove anything if she really thought that she was? What does that say?
Well,
I'm not a tribal citizen, and I should have been more mindful of the distinction.
Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren apologized today for listing American Indian as her race after being accepted to the Texas Bar Association in 1986.
This is who I grew up believing with my brothers. This is our family story. But family stories are not the same as tribal citizenship.
Family stories are made up there, high cheekbones lady. They found that you might have one Native American going back like great, like maybe one. Literally, most people have more Native American in her than she does. 1,000.
Now, I don't know about I don't know about at her, but in Oklahoma, I think you have to be like 1/16 is the farthest you can go.
Yeah, you got
something
on your
eye booger
right here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you can claim. No,
really?
No, it's like right here. It's like I pulled it down.
Thank you.
No, now it's down farther. Now it's like right here.
You could be like more gentle.
I'm trying to be gentle. It's a thing. I got you. Don't worry, I won't eat it.
Oh, we're not monkeys here, we promise.
No, but here's the thing. She claimed it on this registration card in 1986.
Okay.
She has been claiming to be a Native American all this time. And yes, when she was at Harvard, Harvard said our first woman of color is white girl Elizabeth Warren. She's gotten jobs. She has been promoted. She's going around telling everybody she's a Native American. And now the lie is that she said she never claimed it to get a position.
I would at least have constantly colored my hair a darker color if I was trying to pull it out.
She said that she never used it to get a position, but if she puts it on her state bar registration card, then she's going to present it to everybody. American, Native American, Native American, Native American.
Yeah.
And people do want people of diversity and color. So you're going to be, she's probably senator because of it.
Right.
That's how she went up and up and up and up and up.
But we're Swedish, and so I understand it's not the same thing as being Native, but if you're talking about diversity, right, when you have to circle the different things of ethnicity, Asian, Middle Eastern, whatever. We're Swedish. Mm-hmm. We look Swedish. Mm-hmm. Okay? I want to know what kind of prize and advantages that gets me, because I have proof. I have
There's nothing, because it's that Sweden is European and it's white European.
So white Europeans don't get anything.
No, because you're the colonizer.
What about the fact that we were hated because we were Vikings and we pillaged?
You were never hated. You were
that
feared.
Will not get me anywhere.
You were feared. So no, you were feared. You were never hated. You were feared.
Fear me. That's the advantages that I get.
But it's not even you. It's not you.
Swedish American.
It's not you. It's people before you who did crazy, stupid
Fear
stuff.
me.
Okay. Speaking of crazy, stupid stuff, and I don't even know where to begin. So we're going to try to dump.
Let's start at the very beginning.
We really can't. This is where we're going to start. We're going to start with Lindsey Graham calls for vote on the Green New Deal, but not because he supports it. Now, what is this Green New Deal? Now, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, you said that very well.
Thank you very much. And somebody behind her, because a girl can't put two rocks together for nothing. She can't. She's got like you just shake it and it just goes. Brr, 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 like
her head rattles.
Her head rattles. That's what I mean to say. Mm-hmm. It just not a lot up here. Okay? Or there is. Now, I keep going back and forth. She's either a ditz or she is incredibly intelligent. I waver back and forth. I'm leaning towards the certifiably...
Our friend Daniel Wathan on Facebook Live says that he thinks that Elizabeth Warren held a false belief, and he doesn't think that she lied exactly. I think that she lied in the sense that she didn't have any proof, and she knew that she didn't have any proof. I kind of tend to agree with you, Daniel, on the fact that I think she believed her family story, but I think she also knew that her family story had all kinds of holes in it.
But to say that your grandmother or whatever, or grandfather, like somebody, like one person in all of your lineage makes you Native American. She said there were always rumors that my mother wasn't accepted because, or my grandmother wasn't accepted, and my father, he had those high cheekbones. So then on every single thing, when I don't, if someone were to say, what are you? I'm not going to say Swedish, I'm Caucasian. I'm not, she went around saying she was Native American.
Right.
That's what it is. And she used her position as that lore,
Right.
even if she believed it. It goes back so far that she's not Native American.
Right. That it doesn't do her any damage or advantages. Like her family wasn't suffering.
Well, no, not even that. Not even that. It's not enough in her blood for
Right.
her to even say that. And she should have to know that.
Yeah.
That she's got her grandpappy with high cheekbones. Now, how much of an Indian was he? How much was a Native American?
Maybe you have high cheekbones because you have Swedish in you.
So, like, I lived in Oklahoma. You know, you can say you have Native American in you, but you can't say you're Native American.
Exactly. Hey, that's a really good point.
And that's what she could have said was, I have family lore that says I have some Native American in me, but that's like you and like 65% of Americans. You know what I mean? It's like tons of people in America say, especially, I should say more like 65% of Oklahomans. Or
our dear friend in Oklahoma, white as white can be, had Native American in her.
But she didn't say I'm Native American.
Yeah,
she
like,
said
I'm white.
I have Native American in me, and in Oklahoma,
She
a lot
had
of people
high cheekbones.
She did.
I guess all Native Americans have high cheekbones.
I don't know. It's a thing.
All right, so we can go back to AOC.
Right, but that is a really good point. But the other point is that in order to say that you are,
back to you.
If you were, I'm okay. I think I'm standing on this.
Hi, Jasper.
In order to claim that you are a race, an entire race, in order to get advantages, it better be like your dad or your grandparents.
My grandfather literally came over from
a Cherokee
Sweden.
Indian. You know what I mean? Like my grandfather is a Cherokee Indian.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you'd have to say, well, my grandfather was a Cherokee, and that makes me such and such Cherokee.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but she can't say that she's Cherokee. She can't say what tribe anybody was in. She just, all she has is my grandpappy had high cheekbones. Okay, she doesn't even.
I want to know what else she's got in her. Like, is she Irish? Where does she come from?
Well, she's got that DNA test. You could.
I think we need to find out what else
European,
she is.
She's mostly English, I think.
Hi, Jasper.
So yeah, even with the family lore as it stands, she doesn't have enough to be called Native, to call herself Native American. She doesn't. You can say I have it in me.
Yeah.
But you can't say that's me, as that's my race, my predominant race.
Right.
If not one of your parents is full-blooded something, then that's not your race. You know what I mean? Like, you have it in you. And I love that Barack Obama's a black man. Well, he's equally a white man.
I know, that gets me every time.
He is equally a white man. He's not our first black president. He's our first mixed race president.
Boom.
He's not a black president. He's a mixed race president. Okay, if you're going to use race, you have to at least use it right. Michelle Obama's black. Okay, both her parents are black. Obama's mama is white. As white as white can be.
Under question.
All right. So, back to AOC.
Y'all know what I mean.
She's got this Green New Deal. And she's been touting this Green New Deal. Now, yesterday when it came out, the day before when it came out, they had to go through a few edits.
Yeah.
And it had to come down. They had to take it down a couple times. You know why they had to take it down?
Well, they used a word that is 4 letters that starts with an F that we are not allowed to say in our house, except for I kind of grew up saying it a lot. And my mom, it just drove her crazy. It starts with an F and it ends with a T. And it's got an A and an R in the middle. Not allowed to say it. My mother does not appreciate that word. It is not grown up. It is not mature. We do not say that. And I think if you're talking technically, scientifically, professionally, politically, that's also not a word. Now, Donald Trump is a very crass person. Says whatever he thinks. He says things that makes people cringe. Has he ever tweeted that word out?
Okay, so here's
if
the
you
thing.
Can't spell, I'm talking about the word fart. They said fart.
Listen, I want to give you the craziest line of this whole thing in the beginning, so you stick with me because she came out. It's I don't know how many pages it is. I read the whole thing. Just
the bill, the proposed Green New Deal bill.
It is written
like a 5-year-old.
Like not even high school, because I believe high schoolers would have a better laid out plan.
Yeah,
it is really sophomoric. It's awful. If you're trying to lay out something to the entire country, you're not going to write it like you're in 9th grade trying to solve climate change.
Right.
And give everybody free money.
Mm-hmm.
This was in the frequently asked questions that accompanied it. It was taken down. I'm not even kidding you. This was a line that was in it that they had to take out.
Y'all aren't ready for this. You're not ready.
We set a goal to get to net zero rather than zero emissions in 10 years because we aren't sure that we'll be able to fully get rid of farting cows and airplanes that fast. Now, they submitted it as cow emissions, and then because it was just not going over very well, they took it out.
Who came up with the revised version of cow emissions? So I didn't know if all of y'all were unaware, but everybody has emissions. I never thought about having emissions myself.
So the author here of the National Review says, I love the attempt to seem pragmatic here. We're not crazy radicals here. We're just going for net zero emissions rather than zero emissions in 10 years because we are part of the reality-based community. They're trying to be reality-based. So
I think they could be onto something here because if cows have emissions, maybe we could be using them as vehicles. You start riding cows everywhere.
That is
horse
true.
Emissions. We could go back to horses. Horse emissions.
CNBC had to literally had to write an article about it. Does Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez really want to get rid of farting cows? Not yet, at least. The ambitious new Green New Deal resolution put forward by freshman Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator who is Ed Markey, is just an idiot from Massachusetts, aims to fundamentally reimagine the U.S. economy with the environment at the top of mind and free things for everyone, by the way. Among the proposals, the resolution would have the U.S. creating net zero greenhouse gases in 10 years. But it literally says it's not committed to getting rid of farting cows just yet.
Now, I love how that is. I'm wondering, this is my question. This is the question that I would have for AOC. So does that mean that you want to create a genetically modified cow that does not fart?
They are trying to do that, actually. They are trying to do that. John Roberts, mainstream media says the latest version of the facts on her blog has removed the F word in favor of emissions from cows. Holy cow.
Oh my gosh. You guys do realize that we had a lot more bovine on the earth. I can't say a lot more, but like, let's say when Buffalo roamed America, okay? I mean, I get the cow feedlots. I get that. Okay? And you know what? Maybe we would have less flatulating cows if they were having a diet of just grass. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I eat something that I'm not supposed to eat, it does not agree with my system. Cows are not meant to be raised on grain solely and other things that they are fed. Joel Salatin will tell you that they feed dead cows back to cows.
Okay, so
that could give them extra emissions.
Oh my Lord, you're right. Now, here's another line. totally overhaul transportation by massively expanding electric vehicle manufacturing, build charging stations everywhere, and build out high-speed rail at a scale where air travel stops becoming necessary, create affordable public transit available to all with the goal to replace every combustion engine vehicle. Now, you get in your car and you drive into the grocery store.
Going.
Now, me and Michelle, we are crazy radicals, and I'd rather see you hop on your horse like the Amish do. Did you know our Amish down in Hillsboro have built at the Lowe's in Hillsboro, built a trough and a pen and a holding area.
Not a pen. Is it a pen?
It's a holding area.
It doesn't just have like a hitching post.
It's a big area for the horses and a trough that the Amish voluntarily built at Lowe's, so that when they go buy building materials at Lowe's, they can park their buggies.
But they still have emissions.
Now, so I think there should be horse and buggy stations everywhere. And I believe there should be free water and free hay provided by the government.
What's more, I would like the ability to be able to keep a horse on my property if I don't qualify like we do for the 505 whatever thing that we are. No, that's the tax exempt. 51921.
Yeah.
Not everybody can have a cow. Your city will not allow it. Horse, I mean. I'm back on emissions again. I think that every American has a right to have a horse as their clean transportation.
I'm with it, baby. Now, if she were to have put that in her proposal,
I would be with her.
I will sign that on. So I'm going to sit down with her, and we're going to go over this bit by bit.
Talk.
But the Green New Deal is really heavy on specifics, where it literally says build charging stations everywhere.
Natural methane collection, Daniel says. So are we talking about putting a bag on the back of every cow? And how do you just capture the gas and not the poop?
Now, remember, okay, so there's another line I'm going to give to you. They feel like using electricity and everything that we use is bad. And they want to upgrade and replace every building in the United States. Your house, your school, your garage, every government building, they want to upgrade or replace. Upgrade or replace.
We're going to start tearing down. And now this would not fly in the UK.
Every building in the US.
Do you know why this would not fly in the UK? Because they have heritage police.
Oh my
and
gosh.
You cannot dismantle a building if it's a certain age. You can't remodel a building if it's a certain age.
I need to tell them why they want to do it. For state-of-the-art energy efficiency.
Right. Now.
Efficacy.
No, that says efficiency.
Sorry.
Leah. LFS.
Another one.
I'm going to give you a 3-letter name now.
And another actual line is plant lots of trees.
Plant lots?
Plant lots of trees.
We're going to plant lots of trees.
Plant lots of trees.
Now, do they mean lots as in parking lots or lots as in a lot? Many. Multiples.
Because we aren't sure that we'll be able to fully get rid of farting cows and airplanes fast enough, but we think we can ramp up renewable manufacturing.
Right. So when it comes to these buildings, LFS, we have a local coin shop. We were walking today, and I said to LFS, LFS, who in your deal is going to pay for the upgrade of this building?
Well, let me give you this line in here. At the end of the day, this is an investment in our economy that should grow our wealth as a nation. So the question isn't how we pay for it, but what we will do with our new shared prosperity.
Right.
What will we do with all of our new shared prosperity when this is implemented? There's going to be
money flying
unicorns
in the air,
and ponies and massages and ice cream for everybody. What are we going to do with all our newfound prosperity? That's the hardest part of this whole new deal. It's like how we're going to deal with how amazing the world is when we're done.
So the money, all of this prosperity comes from spending. Because the more everybody knows, the more money that you spend, the more money that you have.
That's what happens with the government. That is the only way the government gets anything done.
I'm just curious, when we are done spending all this money that we're going to be spending, freely upgrading all of these buildings, that we need to incentivize investors.
Every building in America.
So after we spent all this money, how does the money come back to us?
I'm sure that
in multiples.
I'm sure that the residents and representatives of the states of Hawaii and Alaska will be supportive of the Green New Deal, which sets as its goal the complete elimination of all air travel and takes high-speed rail to Maui and Anchorage.
How fast is this high-speed rail? It sounds kind of scary.
But I'm just wondering, like, if international waters, like, what kind of train are you going to travel?
A flying train.
Get you,
a flying train.
That's going to get you from California to Hawaii.
We're going to build, like they did it over there across the pond, an underground one.
Yeah,
we're
but
going under the water.
But like all the way. But see, you know how that worked? Because it's not that deep there between the two.
You mean far?
Deep.
How deep? That tunnel thing is pretty deep. What is it called, you people from the UK?
No, but I'm talking about the ocean of the Pacific.
Okay.
You're not getting down to the bottom of the ocean to build yourself a stupid train. It ain't going to happen.
A floating one that they're going to sink. They're going to keep it like a barge or something that floats, and then the train travels in the barge or ship or long thing.
So I'm just imagining a bunch of high schoolers together, like trying to imagine how you can get rid of. How are you going to get rid of air travel? And coming up with all these great Star Trek ideas, and it's more or less like a Star Trek episode.
Ooh, beaming. We're gonna beam everybody everywhere. Why hasn't AOC thought of that yet?
You know
it
what?
answers everything.
You know
the
what?
technology is there. We just have to fund the research. Right? Beam me up, Scotty.
So I think that they must be letting
the
on
channel
to something. I think they must have some technology we don't know about.
I think so too. That beaming thing, it has to be real. I've seen it on Star Trek.
But you know what? Even on Star Trek, they don't beam you from place to place. They like take you up, and they do travel on in airplanes.
Spaceships are cleaner.
Yeah, spaceships are cleaner. They run on like all solar.
Yeah.
What happens when the sun goes beyond the cloud on a
They
solar
don't really
airplane?
run on solar though. They have a warp core.
What happens?
We need warp cores. We need warp core technology stat.
And then we have to go to other planets sometimes, probably to get like Avatar.
Yeah. Well, we need other resources to power the.
So Nancy Pelosi calls it the green dream, and AOC says that she's really happy about that. She takes it as a compliment. I'm gonna give you Glenn Beck here, and he's gonna talk a little bit about.
I love that Glenn's trying to make a comeback. He literally came out of the cave that he was hiding in.
Our podcast, the Friday video.
Yeah,
But welcome to the show and thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Your latest book is down in Florida, not with you, not on your show.
Where is it? He's
Right, you watched TV when you were a kid, and then she told me the most amazing thing: they didn't have TV. That was like more dynamic than anything television or movies can do. You know, because I'm coupling my imagination with the listener's imagination.
Hang on.
So, yeah, I thought about quitting.
Hang on.
Yeah, I know.
While you're looking for that,
So
Daniel says, I don't look forward to an automated and UBI society, but I think such a manifesto is just a lure to get everyone on board for that fundamental shift. I agree.
CNN actually hired
Half Moon clown car that they.
Let's see.
Fun. The audience assumes, well, they wouldn't just put some random guy.
Janice says, cows with rectal bags, will they be plastic? Who collects them? And will it be a biohazard? So if you drop it, you have to evacuate the farm. AOC is so silly, has probably never washed a dish.
Claiming to be serious journalists.
Every time I think they can't lower the bar anymore, they break out a shovel. And they just dig absolutely deeper. And it's a shame because we need it.
Hang on.
I said the same thing about Obama. He
Wait a minute, what about their fries? No, even their fries are horrible. Come on, you can talk about their filet things that I thought were not only beyond what I thought he would do, beyond what I thought he could do or would be willing to do. In some ways, he is still the same man that I don't like when he's on Twitter.
Wait, that's
Fries
true.
are bad too.
Come on.
Last night, at least, he was a little self-deprecating.
Anyways, I got to a point, and I guess I can't get to it. He talks about the insanity of the Green New Deal and how socialism never works. It doesn't work. So instead of him, because I can't find the right spot there, I'm just going to do it myself. Cory Booker says Democratic Senator Cory Booker appeared to compare adopting the so-called Green New Deal with fighting the Nazi regime. He says our planet is in peril, and we need to be bold. Let's see.
We're going to listen to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we have to deal with this. Our planet is in peril.
Coming out of this?
And we need to be bold. It's one of the reasons why I signed on to the resolution and co-sponsored the resolution for the Green New Deal.
Yes, it is.
And there's a lot of people now that are blowing back on the Green New Deal. They're like, oh, it's impractical. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it's all of this. If we used to govern our dreams that way, we would have never gone to the moon.
Can you guys hear that?
God, that's impractical. You see that ball in the sky? That's impractical. We are a nation that has done impossible things before. And my parents taught me reach for the moon, reach for the stars. Even if you come up short, at least you're going to be hovering above the ground. You'll be soaring, young man. And so we need to be bold again in America. We need to have dreams that other people say are impossible. We need to push the bounds of human potential because that is our history. And when the planet has been in peril in the past, who came forward to save Earth from the scourge of Nazi and totalitarian regimes? We came forward. Who came forward to save the planet from, or continents from financial ruin? We came forward with the Marshall Plan. Our history.
What is with the beating of the chest?
Up and saying, look, humanity is in crisis.
Spartacus?
America is going to be a light and the hope.
So every single Democratic candidate has signed on to this New Deal.
Well, I'm really interested, before you finish that.
Can I just name them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand, Cory Booker, and Kamala Harris.
Now, did Tulsi Gabbard sign on to it?
She has said that she thinks that the planet is going to die and we have to do something in 12 years.
Well,
so
he mentioned going to the moon. Now, regardless of whether you think that's true or not, we do not address that issue on our show. But I do know that when you go to the moon, it burns an awful lot of fuel. So he's touting the fact that we went to the moon. So I guess in special circumstances like going to the moon, burning thousands of gallons of fuel to get there is okay. But cows having a little bit of gas, not okay. Kill a cow.
Mandatory train travel, high-speed trains. I have a picture up. Where did I put that picture?
Very curious to me. Very curious.
Let's see. Lindsey Graham. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham wants Congress to put the Green New Deal resolution to vote to show Americans what kind of solutions far-left Democrats are offering to deal with climate change. Let's vote on the Green New Deal, he tweeted Friday. Americans deserve to see what kind of solutions far-left Democrats are offering to deal with climate change.
Oh my gosh.
Graham knows the Green New Deal will never pass Congress. In fact, the Democrats aren't united behind the bill, which moderates fear will alienate key bases of their support, especially when you have the CalFART provision in there. It's really about social justice. You guys, the rest of that deal is crazy because there's lines that say we want to provide financial help for those who are unable and unwilling to work.
They had to take the unwilling part out. It doesn't go over very well, even amongst lefties.
Yeah,
they don't like that part.
They want to, fund unions, and how are they going to pay for it? Well, she said, and here's what I want to get to, because she said the same way FDR paid for the New Deal.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle and I were talking about this today, and if we're going to fight AOC, and we have to, by the way. Every single Democrat candidate is signed on to this New Deal.
They're
If
digging
you
their
can call
own
it,
grave, but I still am with you. We have
here's
to
the
fight
thing.
it.
No, they're not digging their own grave. They are not, because the progressive want this. Half the country thinks that this is possible because they have been brainwashed by the public school system. Okay, so in a way, you're right, because I feel like we can eventually wake people up, but you have to fight it.
Yes.
And I see conservatives and libertarians on Twitter saying, enough with AOC. I'm tired of talking about her.
No.
Listen, I don't want to talk about her either, but the mainstream media is putting her forward, and all the Democratic candidates signed on to her new fake fart bill. We're going to call it the fart bill because she named it that. These Democratic presidential candidates signed on to the cow fart bill.
My mom is not going to appreciate this episode.
Of course, she's not going to want. Here comes Jasper because
fart.
No, Michelle, use it in context.
Fake fart bill.
There you go. Okay, we're not going to use the word just to use it.
Fake fart bill.
We're not going to use it just to use the word.
No.
Use it in context and it's okay.
Yes.
It's like, you know what? Hell is a place, but don't use it as a curse word.
That's right.
And don't just say it over and over again.
I wouldn't do that.
Well, now that you know.
All right. So
the more you know, reading
AOC and her fake fart bill.
Okay.
It's really fun to say.
Yeah. So we have this, and no airplane, no air travel, upgrade all the buildings, free money for everyone, even those unwilling to work. Most people on Twitter were like, I think I'm going to be unwilling to work. Suddenly unwilling to work.
Me too.
Right? But actually, most conservatives and libertarians like, I like to feel good about myself.
But that's part of this whole deal, Leah. If you want to work,
I know,
then you can work. We won't stop.
That's the modern monetary theory the leftists keep sending me emails about, and I try to talk to you guys about, and I warned you about before we even got to this.
Warning.
So this modern monetary theory says there's no limit to money that can be made up or printed. Right. And so we can literally have whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want it.
It's like Monopoly.
And because they have gotten away with it so long, for so long, they did it. Woodrow Wilson passed the Federal Reserve Act, the income tax. We funded World War II. Then we had FDR's New Deal.
Right. All the while.
But how did they do it? You know what they had to do? They had to confiscate. They had to come in like Stalin, like Hitler, and they had to confiscate. My grandparents had to turn in their gold. They literally, it was illegal to own gold.
Now, where's
Hitler had to come in. The fascists and the Nazis had to come in and take the gold. Okay, there's not enough room to keep opening that anymore.
No, keep talking.
All right,
I'll find it.
Then they had to take us off the gold standard.
Here it is.
And which created inflation.
Now, Leah. Mm-hmm. This is a silver dollar.
Yeah. Okay.
Depending on the price of silver, I haven't checked today what it is, but let's go with $15 right now. Roughly $15. Now, an ounce for this thing worth $15. Now, Leah, you have this. Mm-hmm. It's heavy. Feel it. Awesome. That's really, really heavy. Now, thanks to Brian, I think, wasn't it Brian Sooks, sent us this Venezuelan piece of paper. Right. Now, I don't want to take it out, but it's very flimsy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I have a piece of paper, and I say to you, give me that, and I give you the paper at gunpoint. Right. Now, I'm also going to tell you at gunpoint, you can't have this anymore, but I'm giving you something that I'm telling you is worth this. And you have to believe me at gunpoint that is going to be worth this. Now, I take it.
Put the gun away?
Sorry. I take this and I pocket it, and I feel great about myself because I'm telling everyone, I'm not telling myself this because I know it's not true, but I'm telling everybody that I made an even exchange. Leah got a specifically even exchange for this. Now, I pocket it because I know that this actually has value beyond paper can be burned. It can't do anything. You could make some origami or something, paper mache, but beyond that, it literally doesn't have any value. This silver can be used for an innumerable amount of things, okay?
You can go back in time and use it.
It is tangible it has value. It will always have value. So they lied to everybody at gunpoint, took all their stuff and put it in their pockets because they realized what has been happening to the value of the dollar since 1913.
It's gone down.
We're down to, what is it, 4.4% of the value of, 0.4 of a percent that it is now worth. And so as you continued to hand out all of these fake dollars, you literally poured more water in the lemonade and continued to sell it as lemonade.
Right.
But all you're giving everybody is water, telling them it's lemonade. And they have to drink it saying, oh, isn't this lemonade good? Tastes an awful lot like water.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and so this modern monetary theory, they think that they can just continue to give money away, but you can't. Because everything,
and here's the thing about silver,
hinges on that.
Why we encourage you guys to get silver is because silver is undervalued. Now, gold is undervalued as well, but gold has kept pace.
Right.
Meaning, if you had $100 worth of gold in the beginning when they started to confiscate gold,
right,
you're set right now.
Yeah.
Okay, you're pretty good. If you have 100 ounces of gold,
right,
you're at $100,000.
Applemark says, Michelle, it's $15.69 on today's market. Eric Butler says, I love silver. It may be the money if bad things happen.
1 ounce of gold is trading, last time I checked, for like $1,200.
Right.
So, seriously, at
Blaowa says, what does Lynette Zhang say over at ITM Trading? We're going to have her on our show at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Shields are made of what? Metal.
Metal.
Not paper.
Shields are made of metal.
I love when she
exactly.
says that.
So obviously silver has not kept pace with gold, but it has. It's obviously in a better shape than paper, and we think that silver is undervalued, which is why we're telling people to get into it now, because silver, silver will actually get there. So the thing with this new Green New Deal is it can take out 2 birds with 1 stone.
Right.
If you try it, there's no more printing. We're on the precipice of default. That's what 2008 was about. And she says, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if we have money to give to the banks to bail out, we have more to build everything that we ever want. The socialist communist dream. Look at what happened to Venezuela. Look at what happened to Venezuela.
500 whatever.
I don't know.
Cuentos.
I have not kept pace, but I do know that their stacks and stacks of them are just being used for toilet paper now. They don't mean anything anymore.
Right.
Okay. Who's to say that the U.S.
Things
dollar
cost like $1 million down there now, right?
Yeah,
or something like
crazy.
that. For like a loaf of bread, it's like $1 million of these.
Yeah.
$1 whatever.
Exactly. And the same thing happened in Russia when we were in Russia. There was huge inflation on the ruble there. So we need to keep calling her out. We need to keep, making her into a meme. We need to keep making fun of it. And we need to keep...
where was that thing that you had up? That was so funny.
Yeah, I was trying to find it. But here is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in her not-so-chipper mode, asked about Justin Fairfax in Virginia, the guy who's been accused of sexual assault.
We're on our way to the floor for votes.
It won't take too long. I just wanted to ask you, Congresswoman, I just wanted to ask if you think that the accuser of Lieutenant Governor Fairfax should be believed. I didn't quite catch the end. I'm sorry about that.
I said I look forward to looking into the scenario, but I haven't heard anything about this quite yet.
I haven't heard anything about it, and I look forward to looking into that. But she was the first on Justice Kavanaugh.
Sam Harris says she is a living meme.
She is a living meme.
She really is.
It really pretty much imploded on its first day, the Green Dream. But in what's looking like a staggeringly haphazard rollout, the controversy over the plan continued a Friday when co-sponsor Ed Markey of Massachusetts, senator, who was the plan's lead backer in the Senate, slammed Ocasio-Cortez and the plan's fact sheet for calling for a ban on nuclear power. It was very interesting because she said she wanted to ban nuclear. Nuclear is
the cleanest form of energy.
Yeah. Exactly. But we haven't built. We haven't built any plants in years. So you're not going to get that in 10 years. Which it supplies roughly 50% of America's carbon-free energy. So Gazelle Berry, a spokeswoman for Senator Ed Markey, a Massachusetts Democrat who is the Green New Deal's lead Senate backer, disowned the fact sheet and said Markey's office wasn't consulted before it was sent out. We did not draft that fact sheet with the cow farts. Markey sought to do damage control at if he helped draft the document itself. We're going to build charging stations everywhere, and we're going to plant a lot of trees.
Yeah, that sounds like
and we're going to give money to people unwilling to work.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he didn't read whatever he co-sponsored. He emphasized the proposed resolution doesn't address specific energy technologies. Language on nuclear power is not part of this legislation. The resolution is silent on any individual technology that can move us to a solution.
It doesn't
has no
answers.
solutions. Right, no. It has none. We're just going to do it.
Right.
We're just going to do it. At least NASA had like hundreds of mathematicians and scientists who said we can do this and here's how, with a bunch of mathematical equations.
Right.
And we have been sending rockets into the air over and over and over again. So we said, hey, we can do this.
Yeah.
We had already set out of orbit. You know what I mean? So like
the most intelligent minds that our country had to offer were working on that thing. I don't think we can say the same thing about this Green New Deal.
Right. Many, including former Obama administration Energy Secretary Ernst Moniz, argue that the goal of shifting the U.S. economy to 100% renewable energy within 10 years wasn't realistic, and pursuing such an aggressive milestone would put too much pressure on important constituencies of the less, like, for example, labor unions. Basically, you're going to lose West Virginia running on coal. All right? Obama faced that after he put the kibosh on coal in West Virginia. I'm sure it has some co-sponsors scratching their heads, said Jeff Nahum, who served as acting chief of staff for Ernst Moniz. Moniz himself said that it may be impossible to achieve zero carbon emissions in 10 years. It's just impractical. And what concerns me about that is if we start putting out impractical targets, we may lose a lot of key constituencies that we need to bring along. We cannot stand too many assets and frankly strand too many too many workers with impractical, unrealistic objectives. We will jeopardize what I think has been the very significant movement of the large energy companies toward developing new business models. Others insisted that any renewable energy plan that doesn't include nuclear power is doomed to fail.
Jim West says natural gas is the future for energy for the next 50 years, at least.
Oops, shoot. Click that out.
Here's the thing. I think we were talking about this yesterday. We ran into, or Tuesday, a car that said 0 emissions, 100% electric. And I said to Leah, you can't really guarantee that these people don't look at things down the line or back up the line, I guess I should say. Unless you make sure that your electric company and every electric company supplying electricity where you park your car and plug it in is made 100% from clean energy, you can't say that my car is 100% emissions free. Okay? And it's absolutely ridiculous. I love this. It's so
great. It's a sad day when Speaker Pelosi looks like the sane one in the Democratic Party. Lord help us all. Gassy cows, I'm coming for you, and hell's coming with me. New York Times reporters call typo-ridden, utterly nonsensical Green New Deal document breathtaking. You guys, the document literally has the words farting cows. New York Times says, but as a blueprint for liberal ambition, it was breathtaking.
Oh, yeah. Breathtaking.
Yeah. Joe Scarborough should know that this may be Nancy Pelosi's Democrat Party, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is running it. She's running it so far left, she's falling off the cliff into the ground. So it actually is a great New Deal. Somebody wrote an article that said AOC is the Trump's and a Republican's best thing that could happen for 2020. You couldn't get any crazier than Hillary. And the only thing is that progressives love this chick. Like, they are caught up in it. Progressives hate Hillary Clinton. Somebody says, the Green New Deal, anything is possible if you don't know what you're talking about.
All right, so in the chat here, we have Sooks that points out no one thinks about how much damage is done to the earth getting the components for the batteries either. Applemark says, very good point, Michelle. How about the charging stations that are directly attached to solar and battery and inverter? Jim West says, if they make a hydrogen cell, you just swap out every 12 months with no topping up. It could be feasible. It'll be feasible.
What if we all have our own nuclear plant in our house?
Yeah.
They're so crazy. They want to kill us all.
Oh my gosh.
They want to kill us all. Michelle and I talked about it. They want to get rid of all fossil fuels. Right. Well, what about plastics?
And that's so not doable.
Do you know how many things are petroleum based?
These cars,
Vaseline. Where are you going to get
they're
Vaseline?
Talking about are made with plastic.
Where are you going to get Vaseline?
What
petroleum based.
What about safe needles for people in hospitals or saline bags?
You talked about all food is kept shelf stable.
You buy a box of cereal. There's it's in plastic there. I don't know how they're going to make this happen now. In all seriousness, I told Lee on our dog walk today, I said, it's interesting to me that these crazy lefties are touting things that are similar to things that we profess and we believe. And when we say them to people, we get looked at like we're crazy. Okay? I don't like plastic. I wish it was never invented. Right. I would love to get rid of plastic. I hate cars. I would love to go back to horses and buggies. Right. Okay. I'm not a fan of airplanes. I'm not a fan of modern technology, of the plastics and all the energy and everything that it takes for me to get to you. Okay.
I don't even think they understand where fertilizer comes from, because if you don't have animals, you don't have fertilizer unless you're using petroleum-based fertilizers. Right. Which is what most synthetic fertilizers are. Petroleum-based fertilizers that it's not organic, we have these horrible fertilizers. Fertilizers are really bad. Fertilizers going into the ground, polluting the waterways. But farmers in the past knew that you have animals on your farms. What we need is small farms. And actually, animals are the way to replenish the soil they use to grow crops to begin with.
I'm going to get this wrong. I am not, you may think, this man right here, Joel Salatin, okay, for this story that I got from our best friend who went to visit him a couple weekends ago, who was his apprentice. And he told me, and maybe somebody can find this video, maybe somebody knows about this, I don't know. But they have done an experimental project where they started reclaiming land and farming it sustainably, putting animals on it, reclaiming the soil, because what happens is we zap the soil and we totally mess everything up, which is how we end up with these arid, dry places. Now, I'm getting to a point here with this AOC deal. Everybody, I'm not going to deny that the climate is changing. The discussion is whether it's natural, because the climate has been changing for thousands and thousands of years, had these, big swings and shifts. So there's no proof to say that this isn't a shift like that. That being said, what they have done to the soil is they've made it so that clouds don't gather in certain areas. So in this 5-mile radius where they have reclaimed the land, they're doing things sustainably. They are replenishing the soil nutrients and making sure that they're not deficient thanks to the fertilizers. And they have discovered that in that 5-mile radius, cloud formations will form literally over that soil, that ground, that earth that is completely green, okay? And so how come it's always cars and cow farts?
Right.
Okay? And it's not the fact that GMOs and Roundup and unsustainable farming and our city living, okay, and our give it to me now, I want it, instead of keeping the individual homestead and farm and whatever, how come that isn't addressed? How come it's not, oh, you know what? Maybe our earth would be better if we stopped funding farmers to farm you know, the canola oil or whatever it is that they're pumping, you know, what is it called? The biodiesel or whatever. Okay. I'm just saying that there are so many other factors here. The fact
Ethanol?
Thank you. The fact that this is what they're going at says to me it has so much more to do with saving the planet. They don't want to save the planet. They just want to control you.
Sorry, I have weird yawns. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's first bill introduced to Congress. I thought the Green New Deal would be something of a solid renewable energy vision. I didn't think it would be the plot line of Dumb and Dumber. Every screenshot I see, I think maybe it's a parody from The Onion, and it's not, and I'm not laughing, but I'm stunned. Green New Disaster. Perspective. Airlines carry 4 billion passengers a year and 62 million tons of freight, while contributing $2.7 trillion to the global GDP and employing hundreds of thousands of people across every country. AOC believes we can end this and should end this in 10 years.
Yep. Nobody gets to travel anymore. And it's so crazy. Like, once again, Leah, and if you are getting tired because I'm talking, because sometimes when I talk, then Leah gets literally sleepy, you can explain to them how...
Actually, they're right. What this requires is massive government intervention.
It does. Yeah, I have no problem saying that. I think one way that the right does try to mischaracterize what we're doing as though it's like some kind of massive government takeover.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she talks out of both sides of her mouth. That's not surprising. But maybe you want to explain to them how, a little bit better, how we are kind of saying the same thing. Like, we would love to get rid of people, that many millions of people traveling all the time, or all the freight. You want to send something to someplace and it can get there tomorrow because of the airplanes. Right. Do we have to have a life like that?
No, and here's the thing when we're talking about FDR's New Deal is that it pushed forward a type of lifestyle that led to where we're at, to where we do have foundational problems in our society environment. Yeah. Well, it's our environment. We have the pollution. We have the whales coming up with plastic. You know, we have the turtles dying. We have oil spills. We have a lot of horrible things happening. Right. We have a lot of greed happening. China would not be where it's at without plastics and fossil fuels. And we know that these pollutants all over the world, I mean, we can just see rivers of plastic. And it is horrible, but they're not talking about cleaning the oceans. Right. They're not talking about, hey, let's pull back on some plastics. Let's go to just renewable packaging. Let's go to, that's not enough for them. That's not enough. We talked about Elon Musk, who created this electric car and wants everybody to feel good about themselves driving these expensive electric cars. Yet he has flown 364 trips on his one airplane. So he doesn't care about carbon emissions. He cares about making money. But what he does is he runs on fear. And they blame Trump on running in fear. We really do have a migrant crisis. Okay? But what FDR brought forward, we were watching an episode of The Waltons once, and Grandma Walton was upset about FDR's New Deal. She didn't want Social Security. Yeah. She wanted independence. And what happens is you depend. Now everyone depends on their Social Security instead of depending on their relatives.
And what would we ever do, depending on God, without Social Security?
What else did the New Deal bring forth? Well, with all of this whole New Deal, you have a whole new endless bounds of creation. And yes, science created things. We have electricity. Well, along comes electricity. Well, you have a vacuum and you have a washing machine. And you have all these things you need to buy. And suddenly, the housewife that was needed at home because somebody had to do the wash because it was a lot of hard work. And in our own home, the original in the 1948 when this house was built, the washing machine was a tub in the basement. Yeah. Like this.
It was concrete. Your hands. It was a concrete sink. I'm sure many of you have seen
There's a house down the street that had one too. That's how housewives had to wash the clothes. They had to beat the rugs. They had to make meals from scratch. There weren't restaurants. And with every new
liberated women,
with every new invention to every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And when Trump said we have more women in the workforce than ever before, that's not a good thing. What you're saying is that families
are broken
more than ever before.
That we have the state raising our children.
Or we have nannies. We have nannies. Everybody, and then what happens to the nannies' kids? So we have a serfdom. We have a servant class, and we have an upper class.
Right.
And what they want to tell kids is when they go to high school, you want to be part of the upper class. But then if you're going to have children, then you're going to need to, if you want to have good children, you're going to need to hire a nanny. I have a friend who lives down the street. She's my age, and she's a nanny for 2 doctors. But she raises and she homeschools these kids. But she's single and she's not married.
Because she's given her whole life to
She's given her whole life to this family. Okay? She's part of this family. And that's what you have to have if you're going to be a female and you want your kids to be loved and you want your kids to be nurtured. Okay? So you have the breakup of the family. You have over 40,000 people who die a year in car accidents. And they want to get rid of guns for self-protection, but they kill less people than car accidents.
Right.
Okay?
But cars are a fundamental right. It's written in the Constitution.
And now because we have electricity and we have all these bills we always have to pay, and so you have to go to work. So dads used to actually work a little bit closer to home, or their business was in the home, and the families were tight and the families were unified. Families aren't unified. And so when we talk about Make America Great Again, I have a little bit different vision than Donald Trump.
Right. I'm not interested in economics. We were talking about it on the dog walk today. You said, I can go with you. Fine. Our economy's doing great. Fine. Whatever. All these numbers that you want to tout. But tell me what is the state of the family in the United States? What is the state of the average fulfillment that a person feels?
Yeah.
Do they feel love?
1 to 10. So a child's crying in the middle of the night. What are you going to do? And say, hey, son, the economy's doing good. But why are you crying? The economy's doing good. Black unemployment's as low as ever. Your kid comes home being bullied in school. Women are the lowest levels of
highest levels
of employment. So if these numbers are great, whatever, tout them. But how is the state of the mind? How is the state of health of the family? That's how
we make America great.
Putin understands this. The health of the family is the health of the country.
Right.
If you want to make America great again, you have to make families great again. And you can't outlaw abortion and have women working, because you have to have abortion.
Exactly.
In order to have women working at the pace that we have them working today.
Right.
And have the whole free love, free sex society.
Right.
Okay? When you're teaching kids that they can have sex in high school, you have to have abortion, or you have a bunch of nonsensical teenagers carrying around babies, which is not healthy for anybody. Okay? And so, hey, what's the answer? The answer is, let's take down some of the pillars of FDR's New Deal.
Yes.
Okay, let's bring back freedom. Let's get rid of Social Security. Let's get rid of property taxes. Let's make gold and silver our monetary exchange again, so that inflation can't steal from us again.
It's called the silent tax. It's a theft.
We need conservatives and libertarians
that are bold enough, like Ron
Paulians and Rand Paulians, to say, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't just tell Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that her deal is too much without going back to FDR and say, hey guys, this is too much. We have to start. She wants to wean us off of electricity. I want to wean us off of Social Security. You can't do it in a year. I'm practical. Okay? I don't think you can do it in a year. I don't think you can do it 2 years. I don't think you can do it in 10 years.
Right.
I think you also have to, at the same time, encourage families, and you have to literally have a whole switch to families taking care of their loved ones again.
Right.
It's a whole switch. I mean,
weaning people off of Social Security is actually a very simple answer. You bite the bullet of the fact that the people that pay into Social Security now are paying for the people that are reaping it. Mm-hmm. You literally just have to bite that bullet, and you say, okay, if you paid into it, you can continue to get it. If you choose not to pay into it, then you don't get it.
Well, as a minister, you can refuse to pay it, but nobody's going to do that. Everybody's going to be part of it. So you have to get rid of the system.
Exactly.
You have to get rid of the system.
Right.
Because there has to be a whole countrywide change and mindset where we don't throw old people in nursing homes on the Medicaid rolls.
Well, Patriot Gallery put together a blog that Lee and we usually edit them or help write them, but we didn't this one yet, which I think I'll do later tonight, where she kind of touted, and I saw a meme put out by Josh Sigerson of World Alternative Media that was, and he's from Canada, that's kind of laughing at Trump saying, we'll never be a socialist country. Oh, really? Well, what about welfare? What about food stamps? What about compulsory public school systems? We are already a socialist country. We crossed that line a long time ago. What Trump should have said is, we will not get further into socialism than we already are, and we're going to start backpedaling to get out of the socialistic society that we are already in.
Yeah, we have to call a spade a spade. You can't say, hey, I have this paid family leave act.
And then say we're never going to be a socialist country.
Right, exactly.
You can't have it. You can't have it both
ways.
ways.
It's 8 o'clock. We start rolling up.
All right, we've been here for an hour and a half, or an hour and 45 minutes with you guys. Do we have a song?
I don't, but do you?
No.
Okay.
Well, we can just sing What Can Wash Away My Sins?
What can wash away my sins? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And what can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. No, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And for my cleansing this I see. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And for my pardon this my plea. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And nothing can my sin erase. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And not of works, 'tis all of grace. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And this is all my hope and peace. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And this is all my righteousness. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of Jesus.
All right, you guys. Thank you for being with us on this wonderful Friday evening. Leah, you did an excellent job. This was really fun news for me. I know that we're supposed to be battling. I know that we're going to take them down. I know we have to work hard to spread the word. But laughing at them is kind of fun.
They make it too easy. I mean, this is fantastic. FDR was a mean dude.
Son of a gun.
He was Slick Willie. He was slick. He was so evil and so conniving.
Yeah.
You couldn't make fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
But you can make fun of these people,
Definitely
and it's fun.
It is.
And
enjoyable.
God is making it fun, and He's making it easy for us to impersonate them.
Yeah.
You get a girl like this, I'm sorry, because when she smiled, it's just like, oh. It's just too much. It's just too much. She makes fun of herself. She doesn't even know she's doing it. And why can I make fun of her? Because the devil laughs at the wicked. And this is as wicked as it gets. Because
you mean God laughs at the wicked?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Thank you. God
Good job,
laughs at the wicked.
Well, I was reading in John.
And the devil laughs at the wicked too.
Chapter 9.
Because they're being used by him like a puppet.
And it talks about, or Jesus pretty much says, listen, those that are blind, he heals the blind guy, right? On the Sabbath. And he's like, listen, those that are blind here on earth, they're going to see. But those that see or think that they see, the Sadducees and the Pharisees, I'm going to make them blind.
What did you see today?
What did I see today?
I know what to do and make our bookshelf out of. This.
No.
You could put the books on it?
Maybe.
It's an idea.
It's an idea. It's not a bad idea. Leah's talking studio talk here. We've hung the television, the new TV. We've got the bookcase that's down there. Leah organized that last night. I've got a couple of technical things I need to do. I'm going to hardline the internet to the laptop to make sure that we don't have any Wi-Fi interruptions, which means I've got to run a line.
We're going to try to run a camera from the ceiling.
We're going to try to hang the camera from the ceiling so that people don't trip up on the tripod. That's on me too. So very excited. I would love to tell you that the show will be on Sunday down in the basement. I don't know that I can say that with an assurity. So we're just going to go with pray. And if you see us here,
we'll still be here.
We'll still be here at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, I have a letter that I didn't read. Oh, jeez. I can save it for next time because we kind of went over today.
Okay.
And I think I had an email that I need to read. So we'll do that another time.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember that Arthur, and it is pronounced Arthur, that sent us that delicious Polish chocolate.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Sent another letter. Now, I'm hoping that it's okay to... I've told you guys that if you don't want your letters read on air, you need to put on there, don't read my letter on air. All right? I hope that all is well. You did a fine job with the pronunciation of my name. It is pronounced with the H, but spelled without it. When you did the video on John 6, I missed the beginning as I was taking my dog out for a walk after I got home from work. Then I missed the end because my friend called. The next day at work, I decided to finish watching the video while I took my lunch break. Usually, the videos start to play from where I left off. For some reason, this one started from the beginning. I had just sat down and put my headphones on when the manager started asking me questions. And as it was playing and I was speaking with him with my one earpiece in and the other hanging out, once the video started playing, you were answering a question about the kind of bread you had. At this point, I was not paying full attention, and it took me a moment to realize that you had mentioned my letter and my name. On the following Sunday, I was at my sister's house for my niece's 4th birthday party. Everyone was busy setting up, and when my youngest niece, who is 9 months old, started crying, my sister asked me to check on her and see if I could get her to sleep. The show was on, so I was carrying my niece around the room while listening to you and Leah. Things were going well, and I almost got her to fall asleep. It was at this point that I sat down so that I could watch the video. This was a mistake, and trying to put the baby to sleep turned into an epic fail thanks to your sister. It's all your fault, Leah. Child couldn't sleep. As you read the letter, Leah was making faces and acting out reactions to what you read. Her pantomime, which you're not here right now to give, routine had me laughing and cracking up, which in turn woke the baby up. I am glad that you enjoyed the wafer cake. You are correct. It is addictive. The video you made on saying no was very impactful. There was so much that you said that I and I'm sure many others who watched it would relate to. It is disappointing when you turn to someone for help and are turned down. In the past, when someone needed help with something, I would do my best to help them. However, when I needed help, the same people always had a reason not to be able to assist me. Like you, I find it difficult to ask for help. If I do, that means I have tried everything on my own. Part of it is that I do not want to bother others, and part of it is that I do not want to be let down when they say no. It took me a long time to learn to say no, and even to this day, I find it difficult to do. Me too. In the past, I had a small distribution business. It was difficult as it was a one-person operation, but I loved doing it. I was working for myself and slowly starting to take off. I had some personal and family issues. This was a very difficult time for me and the lowest point. I was being overwhelmed with everything, both at home and at work. I needed help, and everywhere I turned, I was rebuffed. It is hard for me to say, but even when I turned to my family, the result was the same. It is a long story, and at some point, I may write more about it. If you don't want me to read it on air, you'll have to put that on here. Anyway, back to the video you made. I cannot even fathom what it must be like with you all, with all of the emails and requests that you get. It is odd because, as you said, people know a lot about you, while you cannot possibly know about all of your viewers or answer all of their emails or fulfill all of their requests. After I watched the video, I had a difficult time going to sleep. I kept thinking about what you said. We do not even know each other, but it pained me to know that you were suffering. I had a lot of people respond with that to my video, that they were, and I'm like, okay, guys, thank you for your empathy. I really appreciate it. But I am doing okay. I definitely am. Do not lose sleep. Please do not lose sleep over me ever.
Listen, there
unless
have
we
been
come to
times
tell
in
you
our
that something
lives
is like
that things
legit.
have been hard. This is more of just like everybody goes through this stuff.
And that's why I did the video, because you guys go through it to its everyday life. Right. While you are not able to respond to each individual message, what you do and say in your videos has a profound impact on people. You help more people than you know. I wanted to take this time to let you know that I really and truly appreciate what you do. My apologies for my handwriting. I started off well, but as you can see, things went downhill from there. It is the middle of the night, and I am in a hotel. He was training for work. But it is important for me to write this letter to you. Thank you for your video, the videos you make. They mean more than you think. Best regards, Arthur. So thank you, Arthur. I love hearing stuff like that. So when I tell you guys to write us letters, it's purely selfish.
So while Michelle was reading the letter from Arthur, now...
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Thank you, Arthur.
Now,
again.
Thank you, Arthur. That is a really great letter, and we appreciate your letter. So while Michelle's reading this great letter from Arthur, I thought I would show you our boiling down of about
3 days worth.
It was a pot worth.
Yeah.
It was a pot of maple syrup.
I think it's like
to give you an idea. See, normally you can, we have, I don't know, how many trees do we have chapped? 1, 2, 3, 4 trees chapped?
6. But remember, you had to waste a couple because, 5. We have 3 trees tapped. We have 5 taps on them. 2 on the 2 up front, and then
so this is
2 down
this
there.
Was almost a full pot size of. It's you can put your finger in it, taste it. It's really good maple syrup. And why did we boil it down?
Holy smokes!
It's really good.
Yeah. I haven't tasted it yet.
Why did we boil it down and not in a big bulk? Because in the past we have frozen it, but our freezer. And we've boiled down, literally, we boiled down a freezer full of it and got like a quart. It takes so much sap to get maple syrup.
We really just do it for fun.
No idea. Yeah, it's just like boiling and boiling and boiling and boiling and boiling and boiling. It just goes down and down and down. It's like, the ratio is like 3% or something. But this is our beloved maple syrup from one 3-day tapping. It'll go on throughout winter, and I'll keep collecting it. And so,
well, one you had to toss, so it would have been a little bit more.
A little bit more. One bucket got contaminated because of the rain.
Yeah, we had
so
I
went out
much
there,
rain.
and I was like, you know what? I do not have 5 gallons worth of maple sap in there. That's rain in there, so I had to dump it because the tree. What happened? The tree was dripping water into the bucket.
We shouldn't have this much rain.
No,
this is global warming.
We had a lot of rain.
Yesterday it was 68 degrees here. Today it was 29 and my face got chapped. Global warming.
All right, guys, we do have a P.O. Box.
107 Milford, Ohio 45150. If you send us your letters, we're going to read them on air unless otherwise stated.
We have a friend who has huge, giant maple trees.
And it's not that far away.
And we have, if we felt compelled and righteous about it, we could probably have a decent amount of maple syrup. Yeah. It would be pretty awesome, actually.
Right.
But we'll see.
We need more time.
We could put 5 buckets on one of our trees. Like, seriously, the tree is literally, like, I can't even put my hands on it.
Well, I think for me, though, part of the thing is the boiling down.
Sure it is.
If you have a small pot, you can boil down in your house. Mm-hmm. But if you have 5-gallon buckets, you're outside manning a fire.
For hours.
Yeah.
For hours.
Now,
hours.
Friends of ours, they built a sugar shack and they put a gas.
Yeah, it was really cool. They have a sugar shack, and he puts a propane gas burner on a big long pan like that, and he just goes out and checks it. And it works probably pretty well.
Right. So Bill Burnett sent me an email while we were going live, and he says occasional cortex. He means Ocasio-Cortez. Should easily develop a warp core because she's the most warped person I've ever seen. That's really funny. That's really good, Bill. Oh my gosh. He says that woman is not smart enough to be called the village idiot. It makes me wonder what the average IQ of her voters might be. By the way, if we will replace air travel with railroads, how are they going to build tracks to Hawaii, Australia, England, etc.?
That's a really good question.
Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, we're going to sign off. We'll be back here on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love you.
God loves you.
God bless. Night, guys.
I was cold.